Hi, my name's Arush, and I was on our 2024 team.
Hi, my name's Camden, and I was on our 2025 team.
Hi, my name is Stefan. I'm the lead mentor for 9584.
And we're presenting on why you should start a JV team. So first things first, what is 9584? 9584 is the JV or rookie team of our sister team 971. First, we're going to go through our team history, which goes through our two prior seasons, 2024 and 2025.
In 2024, we were a group of 23 people, which was 14 new to FRC students and one student mentor and 8 adult mentors. So what did we do in 2024? We built the EveryBot, and with that EveryBot, we competed at SFR, where we were picked by Alliance 5, and we eventually won the Rookie All-Star Award. That allowed us to compete at World Championships, where after making upgrades to the EveryBot, we were able to place 27th out of 75 teams in the Hopper Division, being the highest-ranked rookie team. So, we made some mechanical goals after that season for what we wanted to improve just going into the future. And those were having a more improved design, a more advanced design that was not just the basic functionalities of the kitbot. We wanted to be able to do more. And we also wanted to be able to focus on being a lot more reliable and having a lot better performance.
Additionally, between our 2024 and 2025 seasons, we had a big focus on software goals, one of which was implementing better software and organizing and standardizing our coding formats. Additionally, we wanted to train more people in software, since on the 2024 season we had a very small team, which limited us in certain areas. This also allowed us to increase communication with our engineering subsystems and really unionize our team. Additionally, we wanted to implement Advanced Vision through Limelights, which we did really well in our 2025 season. So who were we in 2025? We had 25 members, which was just a little over how much we had in 2024. We were composed of 18 new to FRC students, significantly more than we had in 2024, 3 student mentors, and only 6 adult mentors. We had a lot more student leadership, which emphasizes how much we wanted to focus on student orientation rather than how many mentors we had. So what did we do in 2025? We also built the EveryBot with more modifications so we could meet our mechanical and software goals. We went to Pinnacles as our first competition, where we competed as Alliance 5 captains, improved our climber and vision systems, and made us more reliable, putting a big focus on the goals that we wanted to achieve. This allowed us to perform really well at CVR, which was our second competition, where we were picked by Alliance 4 alongside our sister team 971 and 1671, the Buchanan Bird Brains. We demonstrated strong reliability and good offense and defense on this competition.
So how did we achieve our goals? We were able to learn and reflect from past seasons, like in 2025, when we were more mechanically and software strong compared to 2024. We were also able to take mistakes that we learned at each of our competitions and improve on our robot, increasing our reliability and our overall competition performance. We also made sure that students drove decision-making and make sure that they could do what they wanted to do. Like in 2025, our entire vision system was created by one very passionate student. Additionally, we made sure that leadership would work together so that we would be able to have a robot that was built on time and competed well.
So how do we foster success on our team? The biggest aspect is mentor support, which is all the people that have significant engineering backgrounds that we take to help foster support and give advice to our rookie team. This also allows us to break into different subsystems that have different mentors, which kind of lead and take over them. We split into mechanical, software, electrical, and scouting, which all have significant roles in how we compete at competitions. This allows us to put a big focus on teamwork, communicating between all these groups and allowing us to unionize them to have success as a team in general, focus on problem solving when our groups conflict, and also leadership, allowing us to have a bunch of hands-on experiences that give us the experience and knowledge that helps us gain more success on 971 when our team members go there.
So now a little bit more about mentoring 9584 as a JV team. The JV team is not only set up for new students, but we also have this set up to bring on board new mentors. Those mentors are helping the students, but also learning how our team works. Of course, they will train the students, they will instruct them, ask questions, motivate them, get them onboarded in what they need to do. But more importantly, they're also there to create that culture of what we want to see when they're moving forward in our broader team. And so in the 2 years that we have been doing this, the first year as a rookie team, we worked pretty standalone. But we already looked at like what 971 processes were, and we tried to mimic them as much as possible. In our second year, we basically created a copy of our 971 team, making sure that we follow the same processes, the same structures. And for instance, that shows in how we do competitions. During the competitions, of course, we have our drive team, where we do the scouting with the similar tools and ways 971 does that. We do strategy, similar way, similar setup. We have our own media team, and then we also run our pit, mechanical, electrical, and software in a similar fashion. Same roles, same people, same principles. By doing so, we not only train our students in these procedures, but also new mentors that we get on board. They will be trained up in these procedures, and in our last year, 2 of our mentors on 9584 have now basically moved to 971 and are leading critical functions there in software and mechanical. So they are also prepared for the future of our team. Speaking about mentors, we actually see 2 types of mentors, or officially 3, but most of them are the local alumni, new students that are actually our old students that come in and are now new mentors as alumni. But we also focus on bringing youth mentors on board. Those are junior or seniors on our team that are passionate about training and coaching other students, and they are being onboarded in 9584 as well. Typically 1 or 2 youth mentors, and of course 3-4 mentors to help out. With that, the goals for our team are very much like off-season training and more scaled in the off-season. So what we're trying to do in this period is really let them explore how the team works. This is one of our lessons learned from the past, that we really need to invest up front. And during competitions, we are going to put students in as many roles as possible. Specifically, Madtown, one of our upcoming events, we will have everybody rotating through the different roles that we have in the team, exposing them to as much as possible so they can make up their mind about what is it that I'm passionate about and what I want to do on the team. Going forward, in 2025 off-season, we're going to do Madtown for the second time with this team, and we're also using that time to rebuild the competition robot for that specific event. That rebuild is not just necessary because the robot is mechanically worn down, but it's also great exercise for all the students to learn how the robot is set up, how to do it, and they actually have to do it partly from the ground up. So they learn what the process is of building and putting a robot together. And then for 2026, we'll be running a full FRC team. We're going to be doing 2 district events. They will be building, of course, a new robot for that because it's a new challenge, but it is a full FRC team.
So, what did we do when we were actually on 9584? When we were on the team, we built the robot, we competed at competitions, and we learned more about leadership and general FRC skills. But off the team, we were able to go into leadership. Like after my rookie season, I joined entrepreneurship, which is our business team, and I became a lead there. And like myself, 60% of our 9584 graduates have been in some sort of leadership, and currently our drive team is 100% 9584 graduates. So we made a quick video talking with some of our old students about how 9584 gave them opportunities. What did you do on 9584?
I was on drive team.
I was a part of strat and mechanical.
I was strategy lead.
I was the driver.
What specifically?
Manipulator. So that means I press the buttons to make the subsystems work in the competition.
I helped CAD and assemble and manufacture our robot.
I communicated with scouts, other teams, and the drive team in order to create a game strategy, and I also analyzed scouting data to make a pick list.
Did you like being manipulator and being on drive team?
Yeah, it was fun because we got to wake up later.
Yeah, because 9584 allows students to develop and advance basic skills needed to help build more complex robots and allow students to gain new experiences and explore leadership opportunities.
Yes, I did, because I liked communicating with different groups of people.
Yeah, it was really fun. I got the opportunity to be on drive team, and I don't think I would have gotten that on 971.
Thank you. So what are some takeaways from that? We learned that a lot of people were able to work on things that they might not have been able to in 971, such as our driver. He would not have been, like he said, he would not have been able to be a part of drive team if he was on 971 because we had an experienced drive team of mostly seniors already. We also had our strategy lead talking about how she got experience doing strategy where she might not have had that experience if she was on 971 as our strategy team was full of experienced members last season.
So why should you make a JV team? Right now we're going to talk about 4 main reasons. The first being education and how the education that a JV team provides to new students helps benefit them later when they go on the team for future years. The next is inclusivity. Having a JV team allows people that might not be as interested in robotics to get more experience and be involved in a team in a different way. Next is leadership. As Aruch mentioned earlier, the 9584 pathway really allows people to gain the experience needed to have leadership positions in the future on your varsity team. And lastly is experience. 9584 is a great way to get more hands-on and competition experience that students can use later in their team as well. So first is education. One really big thing that 9584 does is it provides students with hands-on learning experiences. As you can see in both of these images, mentors work with students to allow them to kind of learn through doing rather than just telling them what to do. I remember when I was on the team, all the mentors, they would give me some sort of task, and they wouldn't necessarily help me do it or guide me through it, but I would figure it out myself, and it really allowed me to understand how parts worked rather than just having a very general understanding from just being told what to do. So hands-on learning is a really great way for people to get to really know their material a lot better, and we teach that on 9584. So how should you educate your first-year students? The first one, as I mentioned, is to show, not tell. Allow your mentors, such as local alumni or student mentors, to lead by example. They have the experience of a varsity team, but our students don't. So it's a lot better for them to show how to do something and really get them that hands-on experience, as I mentioned before. The next is to let them learn through mistakes. It's okay if your JV team makes some mistakes and has some errors, whether it's in competition, but it's really important that you allow them to learn how to get over them because as in life, as in your actual varsity team, there's going to be mistakes that happen, and it's really important that your students know how to deal with them and how to fix them under different circumstances. This gets them a lot more comfortable using different materials and allows them to think really critically about what they're doing and how they're applying their skills on the team. Lastly is to give them resources and help that guides and doesn't do for them. Again, it's really important, as I mentioned in my story, to be able to learn by yourself with only some guidance, not just to be given a set of instructions to enact without really retaining any of that information. So why should you prioritize educating your students? The first is that it emphasizes a student-led environment. This really helps, as mentioned by Masalt, creating that pathway to leadership on 971, or your varsity team. And this fosters strong mindsets and learning skills from all the students on your team. This also allows students to take the most out of who participates. So if you participate more in the team and they really engage in the education, it really gives them the most skills and the most experience necessary for them to be successful in later years on the team. And last, as I mentioned, is it sets them up for future success. Not just on the team in future years, but also as they go off to college, learning these experiences and skills is really, really beneficial to them.
So another really great thing about having a JV team is you're able to work on a bunch of different subsystems, and you can have a lot more inclusivity. Because you're building a simpler robot, you can work in a lot more subsystems because the robot is a lot easier and you're able to have that, you don't need as much experience to go work in electrical or in software or on mechanical. Because everyone will have different levels of experience, everyone has to work together. The more experienced students can teach the younger students their skills, and that allows them to also deepen their skills, as a really good way of learning is by teaching. And you can also have a really high percent of women because you can choose. On 9584, we try to have a 50-50 split between men and women to make sure that we allow women to get more opportunities in STEM, as they might not be as represented on our main team. And everyone has different interests, so you can go explore them and see which one is your which one is your heart leading you to. So like I said before, we give people more opportunities, but with simple subsystems that are a lot less competitive, we're mostly redesigning old subsystems that we could find from the EveryBot or from the KitBot. And it's a lot easier to try multiple disciplines because the software is a lot simpler, the mechanical is a lot simpler, so you're able to work between both of them and see which one you might like more.
Next, we have leadership and mentorship. So the first are student mentors and alumni that have really, really big impacts on our success in the 9584 team. So just a few of the students that came back to help mentor us were Lara, who was our original student mentor in 2024. She was one of our first mentors, and she had an absolutely massive impact on our 2024 team, and especially the success of our team itself. Then in 2025, we had Claire and Philippe, who taught myself and a bunch of my peers on that team a lot of really important skills, from manufacturing to design to bumper design, and just really helpful competition skills as well. And now currently in 2025 and now in 2026, we have Erin, who, especially for me, had a lot of great insight in the pit and is a really, really important mentor and has a really, really big impact on our team as well. And now currently, we have a lot of alumni in leadership positions. Ian and Divya were a part of our 2025 team, and they're currently off-season subsystem leads, doing a really, really great job of helping build and lead our third robot in its success for our next Madtown competition. Then we have Catherine, who's our outreach lead, who is a part of our 2024 team and has done really, really great work applying her skills into her leadership role right now. Similarly, we have Bianca, who's our current competition lead, doing really, really great and thorough work, and also applied her skills from the 2024 team. And then we have Sabrina, who is our team relations manager. She does great communication with parents and with a bunch of outreach, and she also applied her skills from the 2025 team as well. They all do really, really great work that stems from their time on 9584 and being a part of our JV team. So leadership within 9584. Leadership itself, from 9584, you get to experience a lot of different competition roles, which in itself are good. As you can see in the image, a lot of our scouting leads got experience being up there to do alliance selection and actually speak and choose in front of a really big audience of people, which is really, really brave thing to do, that we allow our students to have that opportunity. Next is that it mirrors the structure of 971 operations. So it's not really as big of a jump going from 9584 to 971. It kind of streamlines that process really easily and nicely for our students. Next is our rotating structure. I remember when I first joined the team, I was a part of a rotating pit structure where I got to rotate in and out of the pit and doing scouting. This allowed me to kind of get a taste for what working in a very intense and pressure-filled competition environment was like, and it also made it easier for future competitions in 2025, as well as my role now on 971.
So, Camden and I both have had very different competition experiences. I was on Drive Team in 2024, and I was our human player. I had a lot of fun being on the field, being able to go talk to other Drive teams, figure out how math strategy plays out, and being a part of that, those 2.5 minutes where you're on the field making sure that the robot works and you are able to try and win a match.
Similarly to Arush's experience, I also had some competition experience in 2025. I served as our pit lead as a part of our pit structure on 9584. And being able to have that experience within leadership and kind of guide people in the pit and really getting more hands-on experience just working with a robot and in that pressured environment really helped me hone my skills and kind of understand the structure and the environment that I would be working in on 971.
971 and 9584 have had pretty similar experiences at competition. We both have our own strategy teams where we go to other teams' pits and see what we want to do during the match, generally before we start the match, but we create our own pick list. But we use 971's data as we would work together. And this means that we can have a higher percentage of students work together to create that pick list and go through that strategy process. And our drive team and pit structure, as Stefan was saying, are very similar to how 971 is structured, in that we have 2 mechanical students, a electrical and a software student, as well as the pit lead.
So what exactly is our 9584 to 971 pipeline? We start with new students, and immediately we take them to 9584 as a part of our selection process. From this, just as a part of being on 9584, as we mentioned, they get better skills, a more complex understanding of being in an FRC team, and also how a robot works, and all the different subsystems. And they also get more leadership experience. Now, all these skills are very cumulative, and they lead to more experience that is necessary for 971. This ultimately allows them to be a successful 971 contributor and leadership member.
So now the big question is, how do you start your own team? A little bit about our timeline. When we started our team in 2023, we kind of did this last minute as addressing a need for more roles and more opportunities for students. In doing so, we actually learned very quickly that this is a great place to develop new students, not just an opportunity for more roles, but actually create it as a JV team going forward. So our first year was purely rookie. We worked as a separate team from 971 to be part of, basically to adhere to the rules of a rookie team. We're completely isolated. But going forward, after our first year of competitions, we learned that we wanted to be more integrated. But even that first year, working isolated from 971, already we saw that the experience of building a robot, running a team, being at competitions was so valuable for our students that we very quickly decided we wanted to do more about this. Now, with that experience, we also noticed that we need to be better prepared. So there were a couple of learnings from that year. And the biggest learning was we need to have a plan. The first time we kind of dove into it head first and we winged it, but we learned that that is not the most optimal strategy if you really want to create long-term impact. And kudos to the students in that first year who we kind of try everything out on, and they landed really well, as you could see. But we also felt like if we want to keep doing this, we need to have a better plan. So one of the more important things was we wanted to bring it closer to 971 and really be a JV varsity setup, which meant that the engagement should not be a separate team 1, separate team 2, but should be more like a overall team. So our club, Spartan Robotics, is kind of one big club, and then at some point we create the 2 FRC teams. The way we create our FRC team for 9584 is slightly different than 971. 9584 is an invite process that is only open for new students on the team in their freshman and sophomore year. We only select 25 of them out of the whole group of this year's 70 students. So it means that we're really looking for those students that are committed, motivated, and will have the most gain from being in the program. There are students that go directly to 971 because they will fit in there perfectly, but we see that a lot of new students benefit from this experience by the way they can learn it. The improvements that we made was we do train our students better now. They are going through a full training program during the off-season, starting in the summer when they come in as freshmen or sophomores, all the way through the moment that we pick the people on the team. And even then, of course, they will keep on training, but now very focused on the 9584 robot that they inherit from the year before. We do form the team earlier. We typically do this end of October, directly after Chessy Champs, so that we have time to prepare for Madtown. And Madtown is going to be the first event that they as a team will basically go together to, work together, and do all the jobs that we have. As mentioned before, we will copy 971's processes, structures, etc., just a more lighter version so that it's easier for them to pick up. And then last but not least, we have learned that in some cases, especially when you're at the same competition together, it does not make sense to have a separate scouting team, but it's probably better just to work together. This is a trend that we see anyway, that teams are working more together on these kind of aspects. So we have decided that whenever we're together somewhere, we do combine some of the resources like scouting, strategy data, and so forth. But still, the strategy teams are separated, the drive teams, of course, are separated, and all of the pit crews are separated. But we will leverage where we can. Then we talked about mentors in the earlier, but very important, like you do need to find the right mentors for this. So for us, opening up the ability of having youth mentors, this is a new concept that we didn't have at 971 in the past. The ability for junior, senior students that are interested in it to step up makes it interesting for them on the team, their learning experience, but it also creates a place where students train students, which we have learned is very effective because in the end they speak each other's language, they share the same experiences, and we really want to get that out there. We also putting the local alumni back into the program and get more parents involved. There are parents that, besides helping out the team in other areas, like to have the knowledge and the capabilities to help. 9584 is a great place for them to start. And then in the end, what's the impact of those mentors? Of course, they teach the kids, but the kids teach them as well. They bring industry level skills to the team, but they're also going to see how students are applying them and learning back from that as well. So it's an interaction between our mentors and our students, where especially with the new students, we will see that mentors are bringing a little bit more knowledge to the table, but still there is a very healthy balance between the two. The other big question that we often get is like, okay, how do we pay for all of this? Now, having a JV team has one big benefit. You already have a team. You already have an infrastructure, machine shop, parts. So yes, we share a lot of that. We share the machine shop. We share a lot of our lab inventory parts. So that allows us to keep the cost relatively low. We still need to pay for competition fees. We still have budget carved out for the parts that they do need, but there's a lot of parts that can be reused. Also, because the robot has less complexity and a different level of ambition, we can effectively source parts at a lower cost. To make up for the money that we still have to pay, the team does apply for grants. Now, with the 9584 team only being formed later in the season, this is a joint Spartan Robotics project where we apply for grants. Usually the alumni of the team support during the off-season getting those grants in for the new season. We have a lot of main team funds that come in, more general funds that we can assign a part to the team. And then last but not least, we're using company hour matching. So a lot of the parents that supervise and have their students on 9584, they can basically donate their company hour matching to 9584 as well, or to the general fund, and we will just assign those. So there's relatively easy to fund. So what are we talking about? Around $7,000 for competition fees nowadays. Prices went up. We reserve some money for marketing and outreach, which is usually technical documentations, presentations, banners. And then there is around $7,000 reserved for robot fees. It depends a little. If we can reuse some parts from last year, like swerve modules, it's going to be a little bit less. If there's a tech refresh needed, you will have to spend a little bit more. But altogether, we're talking around 15 to 20K per year that you need to invest in a JV team to fully operate it at a level of a JV team.
Now, another very important thing we have on 9584, which we implemented this summer, was our training system, and especially its design for skill building. When students first come on the team, we had a training program at the start of the school year, but it was really crammed in, and it didn't really give them the opportunity to have the basic skills they needed to be on 9584 and kind of carry them through it. So we reached out over this past summer to a lot of local middle schools, and we got them to come into our lab and be a part of this training program. We created a really big calendar that I was a part of, which went month by month over the summer to keep students engaged and on track to this pathway of learning a bunch of different skills from manufacturing, software, and CAD. So some things to make note of when you're making your training plan is that it must be well communicated. As we mentioned, we had to reach out in advance to middle schools to make sure we could actually have all the students who were interested in robotics come into our lab first to be a part of our training program. Next, these trainings need to be led by experienced students who are interested and who are also available to teach students. This not only gives your current students on the team more experience with leadership, being able to apply their skills, deepen their own knowledge by teaching other students how to operate different subsystems. Lastly, as I mentioned before, is you need to create a really organized plan. One thing that we learned from our training this summer was that you really need to keep things organized and structured and make sure you plan out very carefully all the different times so that they don't overlap or conflict with each other. This is extremely necessary so that all the students stay on track and that they don't miss very important trainings. And again, use a spreadsheet or something to organize yourself to make sure that students are kept on track. Lastly, an important thing of training is gamification. So the part about making students engaged and actually want to stay on your team would be by making it fun for them. So one way we did this over the summer is that, cumulative to our training, we created mini projects, which was the creation of small teams that worked together, led by students who were doing the trainings, to make flywheel shooters that shot tennis balls. Now, not only did this allow them to apply their skills that they learned in the trainings, from CAD to manufacturing, electrical, all those great things, into one unified project, similar to subsystems you see on 971, like a flywheel shooter. And it allowed them to compete with each other just like they would in certain FRC, but much lower stakes. Yeah, and it's really great just to keep them engaged and on track.
Creating a JV team has a few main takeaways. It has student benefits, such as engaging new students, creating a more well-rounded members, and allowing those new members to know what they want to work on and if they didn't know that already. It also has a bunch of benefits for your main team and your program in general. It helps by allowing more students to have more experience as they go into your varsity team, and they're able to be more productive on that team, and you're also able to have a really strong cycle of new members getting trained up and being able to go and work well in those leadership positions on your main team.
Thank you so much for listening to this presentation, and we hope you start your own JV team.